Good evening, everybody. Kosala, aka Marventus, here. It's a beautiful evening in England. Pretty chilly, pretty dark, and I've been having an interesting day of Starcraft. Couple of wins, couple of losses. Certainly learnt a whole bunch of very interesting things. This was a really fun game, so I thought I would share this one with you. This is an example of a proper counter against a Terran Marine Marauder rush, and the teching up, or I had actually had a brief tech up afterwards and caught him completely unawares. This went very nicely. So let's just run through this. In the top left corner we have the red Zerg, that is myself, Marventus. In the bottom right corner we have the blue Terran, Mr. Steak Fright. Steak Fright, not Steak Knight, but Steak Fright. And I've had my standard opener. When I say standard, it's reasonably standard for me now. I go 10 of 10 with the drones, and then I start getting a spawning pool. Where is my spawning pool? There it is, spawning pool going up right there, and then I get another drone before I get my overlord. Now let's take a look at how production is going. I'm doing some stuff, he's doing very little stuff. Let's go take a look at Mr. Steak Fright. He is just putting down his barracks, he's got a supply depot up. And I've actually stopped scouting all too early because I realized, and this was a bit of an epiphany, folks, I realized that actually there's no major point in scouting all too early because it's very unlikely for Zerg to be able to cheese anyway. It's very much a skill and macro kind of race to play, so it's very, very unusual to be able to cheese anything at all. So there's really no point in trying to do an early rush. You might as well wait until you have some production going, you have some economy going, a Zergling or two out, and then go poke at the front of his base and see what now, I've got my first two Zerglings out. So it's only now that I start scouting. So we are 3.5 minutes into the game, and I'm just walking out the door. And I've discovered that there's actually not a whole lot of risk involved in doing this. Because before now, I mean, even if I were to have seen something, what would I have done differently than what I've got right here? Absolutely nothing. So why bother with the scouting at all? Ooh, he's off with the Marine over here in a corner. Right, and I'm off on the left side. We completely miss each other. And a really funny thing happens here. Take a look at this. I was initially going to park myself there and just wait to see what comes out. But then I changed my mind and went off and started poking at the door. And a really hilarious thing happened here. Take a look at what happens here. He actually manages to misclick, and he pulls down his supply depot. Keep an eye on this puppy. Here we go now. Here we go. Any second now. Oh, what a mistake. Alright, and I moved my walls right through, but of course with two Zerglings I wasn't able to do a whole lot of anything. But imagine if I had shown up with the entire family of Zerglings that's about to pop out right now. Right, oh, what a bunch of fun this would have been. I actually don't think I've even managed to get a single, did I get a single kill? Not a single kill, but that was just a funny moment anyway. So, I have my Zerglings out, I pulled out a Baneling's nest. And I'm going to start morphing some of these into Banelings. In the meantime, I'm spreading the creep, as indeed I should. I have a second queen up. This I tend to do quite quickly as well. I get one up as fast as possible. Right, and I prepare for the rush coming in. Two queens is nice because in case I'm wrong about the Marine Marauder thing and in comes a Banshee, you can pretty much deal with it reasonably well as long as you have a couple of queens. Even 3 queens is not money poorly spent. In the event it turns out to be unnecessary, you can always use the queen to just spread creep, the extra one. And here's the thing I've started doing as well. In order to make sure that my Zerglings get a proper surround when things start coming in, I separate them on the map. So I've got one group right here, I have another group right there, and I'll be converting some of these to Banelings in just a second. And in the meantime, I'm also taking up to a lair. So let's see what we've got here. We have our first upgrades rolling. We have, that upgrade's already done. The Baneling upgrade is about to happen. And we have Lair Tech just about to be done researching. And there it is. Okay, let's take a look at this. He's producing more Marines. He's got a supply depot on the way. The upgrades are actually incredibly important. They do help a lot. attack 1 and armor 1 makes a huge difference early on, because the chances are these guys will not be upgraded. Or were they? No, they were not. Not even close. So there we go. Let's see what he's got here. He's got reactors on all of these. He has a tech lab on there for the Marauders. He's got his second gas. And has he saturated? He has not saturated his mineral line. There we go. How are we doing? Let's see if we've been good. Approaching 2 lines. Excellent. So if you take a look at the count on the units, we've got just 1.5 rows of Banelings there, 1 more there. We have just slightly over a row of Zerglings. Now this is pretty much all you need early on. No matter what he sends your way in the way of a mass of Marines, you're good to go with that amount. Right, and we're keeping a constant growth on the gas and on the minerals. We have our creep spreading, the Queen helping out there. In general, we are in good shape. We've saturated both gases. This is looking good. It's looking good. So let's see what's going on here. Some Marines have started to roll out, anticipating exciting times ahead. You notice that I have not stopped with the upgrades. I'm getting armor Carapace 1 as well. And here comes Steak Fright's first salvo. And how have we prepared for this? We have spread Banelings and Zerglings in 2 different corners. We are sprouting a Overlord into a Overseer in case it's Banshees and not much. And we've got two Queens. And we've also got a Spore Crawler out in the event we're wrong and some air support comes in. Now get a load of this. He's bringing in all of this. Just pause this for a second. What do we have here? We've got basically one full command group's worth of units. And let's see how this goes. He comes up the ramp, shoots off one of my spores, tumors. Along he comes into the middle. What do? I distract with the Queens, and then I bring in my guys from both sides. Now take a look at this. He's getting a nice spread here, got a good concave going, and my Zerglings rush in, along with Banelings. And oh my goodness, the carnage! There's green stuff everywhere, and what happened? Oh, the rush totally failed. It totally failed. They are dead. We are not dead. Everything's cool. My Zerglings chilling out here on the right-hand side. They're proud of their Queen. They know she can do her shit. So they're not even helping in. That's how arrogant these Zerglings are after a good Baneling rush. So there we go. Economy line completely intact. The only thing we've lost is basically our cheapest units, and our resources are still doing good. So what happens here, one wonders? Right, the first thing I do is I create a Mutalisk. In order to do some scouting later on down the line, I create a few more Zerglings. I go poke around and see what I see over here, and what I see is a tank and a bunch of Marines. So let's see how this little poking around thing goes. I do like to do this directly after, just to make sure that there's something there, because sometimes there just isn't anything there. And if there's nothing there, you can have all kinds of fun with that. I leave a couple of Zerglings there, but at least I know what's going on. So I have a couple of tanks here, and I see the Marines. Everything is hunky-dory. What does one do now? That is the question. So I spent some time thinking about this, and I decided that this was the time to do a tech switch. So now we're going to go from our Zergling Baneling counter over to a Roach heavy alternative. So our first 4 Roaches are popping out. I'm simply assuming he's going to be coming with some tanks and some Marines and Marauders. And frankly, you know, Roaches, as always, are pretty damn excellent at pretty much everything. Let's just do a quick look around how everything else is going. Units lost. Now you see, I've lost less units, less resources than he has. And if we go into army, he's got a much bigger army, but doesn't really make any difference at this point, because the Roaches are still being pummeled out. He does his scan, he spies some of my Roaches. Now this is something I forgot to do, is move them out of the way, because they're always going to scan the base, and you really need to get them into a corner somewhere, where they're definitely not going to be wasting any of their scans on. So let's take a look. Back we go to production. More Roaches coming out, the odd Mutalisk or 2 coming out, and then of course make sure you're not supply blocking yourself, get an Overlord out there. And while this is going on, I plonk down my second base. And I also move a Queen over. to be able to fill it with lava as soon as possible. Just to be on the safe side, I've taken out a couple of spore crawlers, and my first line of roaches is ready to rumble. So there we are. Things are looking good. Now remember to get the upgrades, and the roach warren upgrades will be gotten in just a moment. Let's see what's happening over here. He's amassing his second round. While this is going on, I take a couple of mutalisks and I run round to the other side. Now the reason I'm doing this is I'm waiting for him to come round this side so I can spy him, since I've got my Zelnaga towers. And the moment he does that, I'm going to fly down to his mineral line with an attack move. Because I'm simply assuming that he spent so much money on his bioball army that he hasn't got any turrets. And I did make a guess there, but it was a pretty educated guess, and it turned out to be absolutely dead right. So take a look at this. While I spy his bioball army heading out this way, I send my mutalisks down in an attack move to his base right down to his mineral line, where he's got 0 defense. We'll come back to that in just a second. Now while these guys are popping up here, I have pummeled out the roaches. So I've got 1.5 lines of roaches, and again, this is not an extreme amount. But I've got my 2 queens, and I've got my spine crawlers. He sends in a tank to poke around and see what's there, and I nuke the hell out of it with a queen. And a zergling, I believe. Let's see what happens here. Wise move here on his part. He's just come and take a little poke in and see what's going on, make sure everything is cool. And it's not a bad idea to do this, because at this point he actually sees nothing, because I moved my roaches back here, which again is a nice move. And I've got a couple of banelings building there as well. So 2 roaches and a queen taking out this tank, no problem at all. My spore crawler survives, everything's cool. Now he brings in his major army. And I let him take out this roach while I bring all of my guys from back here down to join in the fight. And here we go, more carnage ensues. Tra-la-la-la-la, queen dies, he thinks everything's cool, but nay, he's mistaken. Look at how this goes. Baneling's catching up on the wonderful creep. Oh, half the army's dead. And not a single one of my roaches died. Not one. I mean, look at that. That's just beautiful. And that's the end of his MM ball. Now, I've actually used up my ground units, or my running units. I'm just down to my roaches now. But because, I only lost like 1 roach in that entire fight, which is not bad at all. And I've got a few more popping out here. Oh, are those drones? Those are drones. And an overlord popping out? Yes. So now that this is out of the way, next thing to do is take a look at what happened over here. Get a load of this. The mutalisks have completely wiped out his entire mineral line. There is not a single SCV standing. They are all dead. And when I saw this, I actually got confused initially, because I thought, where the hell are the buildings? Because the two mutalisks can't possibly have taken it all out. And here they are. He's actually flying away with all of his buildings. I mean, dear God. So the moment I saw that, I thought, excellent. I grabbed my roaches, and I came down to join the party. Because this was just, this is just funny. All of this was going on while this battle you just saw earlier happened up here. So I wasn't even microing it. I just had them on attack move down here, and they totally annihilated the entire mineral line while he had his attention completely turned away. We're coming down, and what do we see here? We see 4 nice barracks lined in a row with not a single anything to defend them. Excellent. Right, always nice to have food served on a platter. Yum yum. Roach lunch. Some marines pop out. They came to say hi and then died. And then off we go to the rest of the barracks as well. And this is pretty much the end of the game. Right, he GGs and buggers off out of here, as indeed one should. And that was that. So what did we do? We had a nice opening where we kept away the Marine Marauder rush. We drove off the second rush as well with a combination of roaches and banelings. And then we followed right while at the same time harassing his mineral line with no more than two mutalisks. And then we just nuked away his buildings, and that was that. Thank you for watching all. I've got even more coming today. I've had a prolific Starcraft day, really. So I'll have more stuff over the next few hours in the day as we go along. Thank you for watching. Comment if you wish. Ask any questions, and have a lovely day. Ta-ta.